So welcome everybody to episode 1 of the Fulfilled Veteran Podcast. I'm Albert Winks. I'll introduce here shortly, or have Colonel Mike Burrows introduce himself. Let him tell you about some of the good stuff that we've got going on. As you know, we're expanding our podcast arena and to get our awareness out there that veterans, your service matters, not only historically what it matters, but let's move your service forward so the next part of your life is the best part of your life. And that's why we're sharing ideas with the Colonel and other people today to get those ideas out there, get you motivated, get you pumped up, get you moving forwards on the stuff that you do. I'm like a lot of podcasters out there to where I get to self-promote because I don't want anybody telling me what to do. Colonel, he may say something a little differently with the many hats he's wearing, but I am my own boss, and so there you go. So I'm going to talk about a couple of things first. I am Albert. I'm the Fulfilled Veteran Money Coach, Fulfilled Veteran Coach, Fulfilled Money Strategist. Veterans out there are worth millions of dollars, mostly between 3 and 5 million that you don't know about. Not only I'm the only guy in the world who knows it, but I'm the only guy in the world who does it and proven myself all the way up to SEAL teams and Delta guys and all of the best warriors. If I told you who I talked to today, you'd probably pee a little because I did. So, but I'm the only guy that delivers it. I've helped over 3,000 clients get at least $3 million and in the pipeline. So you're looking at about $10 billion delivered already. So 2 things you can't get back from the government is your time and your money. So please make sure you get on my calendar, thefulfilledveteranproject.com for that. Other things I'm doing. So I've got a book coming out. And a lot of what we're going to chat about today is based off of this book. We got a lot of information on my website about this. I've got book interviews, so I'm happy to interview any veterans out there. Colonel and I will probably talk about this quite a bit today, that there's a lot of veterans out there who don't know a lot of things. And these are the first 5 to know about. And I know from briefing almost probably 10,000 veterans out there, most of you guys, even 4 or 5 new clients of mine today said the same stuff. Oh my God, I wish I would have known this stuff and would have taken the time to slow down to move forwards in life faster. So that's the thing. I help veterans get fulfilled fast. I'm the only guy who will say that because I'm the only guy who's doing it. Fulfilling veterans fast. So just want to let you know. Yes, you've got a lot of support out there, but what you don't have is me. So if you don't have me, you're gonna want to know me. So just to let you know. All right, let's see what else I got going on. So book interviews. I'm happy to. I've interviewed for another book that's over my shoulder over here. Actually that shoulder. There we go. So I interviewed almost 100 veteran business owners. That was a blast. And so I'm going to interview for my new 5 Fucks book. Hopefully not 100 veterans because I've already talked to a bunch of you guys about it. But if you're interested, get on my calendar for that. Go check out my website, and links will be in the description and probably below and above and around. So let's see what else I got going on. If you're wanting to change your life, go to my website. I've got a video that is a life-changing video. And every time I chat with somebody, watch Colonel today, as we get to know each other, he'll start leaning in and going, holy shit, Albert, who are you? Where the hell have you been? Why don't I know you? Every time I talk to somebody, that's what they do. So I help change lives fast. That is it. Everybody says, oh, I want to motivate and blah, blah, blah. I help change lives fast. I've delivered a lot of money to my clients, and I get you to get the hell out of your head so that you can get whatever path that God has for you. Get that out there. Be the vessel for God. Go do good things. And that's what you're there to do. So I know you know that. Now you know that I know that. Now let's get together so we all know that and get you traction on that. So that's on my website. You'll see it's a life-changing video. So make sure you go check that out. All right, enough of me flapping my gums. Colonel, let's talk to you. Give me at least your first 2 or 3 minutes of what you did in the service and what you're doing now so we can get to know each other, and then we'll dive deeper.
All right. Well, first of all, I'm sold. Okay. So I want to get you on my website. All right. You don't need to tell them anymore because I've got a lot of veterans that I'm connected with out there that could use your help. Look, I'm a retired colonel. I spent 37 years in the military. That was made up of active duty. That was made up of reserve. That was made up of National Guard, but no break in service. 9 years enlisted all the way up to Staff Sergeant, OCS, 28 years commission. I am a combat veteran. I did deploy to Iraq in 05, 06 as a logistics commander. And when I retired in 2012, and of course I started probably before you were born, Albert, in 1975 as a private. But when I got out in 2012, the first thing that happened to me is in 2015, my father-in-law, who was a Vietnam veteran, he was a Marine sniper, he died from suicide. And that has a big effect on your family. I lost a couple of soldiers from my tour in Iraq that had died from suicide after our deployment. So I decided, hey, I need to get out there and I need to do something. And then that's when I started working for a number of nonprofits. And currently I'm the CEO for Victory for Veterans. And, you know, we can just get into all kinds of neat stuff that I'm doing there. But that's the short and sweet of it. I'm married for the third time, and third time is a charm. And I've got 3 daughters, 32, 30, and 26. The 26-year-old is living at home right now because, let me tell you, 26-year-olds are struggling in this world, in this economy. But she's getting ready to move out here, looks like to North Carolina with a Air Force young man that we know. That I think this is going to be a real good relationship for them. So I'm excited about that. My other 2 have got their college degrees, their master's degree. My oldest is working on her PhD in education, so I'm real proud of my kids. So that's me, the short and sweet of it. And hey, let me know where you want to go and how I'm helping veterans.
Yeah, definitely. Let's talk more about I love what you did. Now we all know that because only veterans know veterans. How do we push this forwards? What inspired you to do what you're doing now?
Well, again, I mean, just the number of suicides with our veterans and of course the family member. And so what I did back in 2015, I created a program called Warriors for Life. And basically I said, hey, I want to get online with warriors out there, no matter what type of uniform they were wearing. So I work with veterans from all the services, and I work with first responders, and I work with caregivers, right? I work with their spouses. And I said, hey, you know what? I want to get these people online outside of the VA, right? Where they can come online from the comfort of their home, just like we are now, right? You're comfortable, I'm comfortable. And just share our experiences, right? And provide peer-to-peer support. And I started that 8 years ago, and I did it every Saturday night. And I'm still doing it every Saturday night. But now I gifted the program to Victory for Veterans, Inc., which is a 501c3 nonprofit, national nonprofit. And we meet 7 days a week for at least an hour, hour and a half with veterans and first responders from all over the country and some from outside, you know, expats. And we just provide peer-to-peer support, right? A place for them to connect, regain that camaraderie, you know, get that 100-pound, you know, sack of crap off their shoulders, right, that they've been carrying. But most of our veterans have PTSD, or they have traumatic brain injury, military sexual trauma, all types of invisible wounds. And so we think we know, and we believe that we're helping save lives out there. And it just gives them another alternative, right? We don't promote any medication. We don't tell them to give up their therapist with the VA or anything like that. But this is just another outlet. And over the last 8 years, we've developed some very, very, very strong relationships and friends. And now these people have a great network, you know, that they can reach out to when they're hurting, or they're triggered, or they just want to, you know, talk to somebody. So that's our Warriors for Life program. And from that, about 2 or 3 years ago, I said, hey, I want to go one step further, right? So if I'm dealing with veterans that have PTSD and traumatic brain injury, or they've got MST, which leads to PTSD, or they could have a combination of everything, right? Invisible wounds. How can I start healing? How can I really provide tangible healing, right? And so that's when we came up with the idea to open up a Life Readiness Center. So what is a Life Readiness Center? Life Readiness Center provides a number of holistic modalities that will help veterans heal. And so here in Huntsville, Texas, last January, we brought enough donations in from our 2 primary programs to purchase 2 hyperbaric oxygen therapy chambers, right, for $67,000. These are really good metal chambers, you know, with glass and two-way communication and everything. And we partnered with the doctor up in Huntsville, just opened up his practice to us. He's providing scheduling. He's providing the billing. He's providing the technician. He's providing certification. He's providing all of this stuff, right? And we're loaning him the 2 H-bots. We started that in January. Not only are we treating civilians that have TBI or PTSD, but we're treating veterans and first responders free of charge. And so for every 4 civilians that go in and use that equipment, right, that allows us to continue to treat veterans free of charge. And so I think that's an awesome program. That's our pilot program. We're getting ready to open up another one in Scottsdale, Arizona with the Halo Clinic out there. And I'm looking for a location in San Antonio, but our goal is about 5 locations here in the state of Texas and 32 around the country where we can really make an impact. And I think we're on our way. So I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, very nice. Well, you want to know more about me. You've mentioned Halo. So even one of my clients from today was a Halo instructor. That's why I said, if you know who I chatted with today, you'd pee a little. So yeah, he was a Halo instructor. So yeah, he's got like, he said over 4,000 something jumps now and stuff like that. So yeah, it's insane. So and that's why we're doing this, is to be able to shoot, move, and communicate. I mean, if you don't know what the hell your buddy's doing on his battlefield, how the fuck are you going to know what to do on the collective battlefield?
Oh, absolutely. So, absolutely.
That's another big push that we got for this year moving forwards is partnerships, to where if Colonel's doing great stuff and I'm doing great stuff, well, then we need to be on each other's websites and on each other's social platforms. Because even I now tell my clients as I'm talking to them in our first session, I'm like, hey, the 2 ways that people mostly come to me for help is direct connect. So maybe they know Colonel here real well and they go, hey, Colonel sent me, I love him, I want to work with you. Or number 2 is through social media and trust. So it'd be like, hey, Albert, I don't know Colonel very well, but I know he's doing great shit and he posted about you and I'm on your calendar now because if it's good for him, it's good for me.
Right.
That's the top 2. Like when I say that to marketers, civilian marketers, they go, wow, Albert, you've got 3,000 clients that you've helped deliver $10 billion to. You've got 30,000 followers or whatever you want to call it on LinkedIn, mostly awesome veterans and badasses out there. And they're like, wow, this is insane. Civilian marketers don't know that. They don't know word of mouth. They don't have 3,000 people that send them other high caliber clients and stuff. It's unheard of. And the reason why it's unheard of is because if I were to put it into the military tier system, that people like Colonel and I are doing great stuff. We're working with tier 1, tier 2 level human beings that care, that truly care. They show up tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow after that. And that's why we are where we are doing what we're doing. Whereas other people out there are a bunch of talk and no fucking action. So, and we'll talk about my flying bee story here.
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, what you just mentioned about, connections and everything like that. Look, we know we've got 2 primary programs, right, that are going to help veterans. Okay. But we can't do it all. Mm-hmm. And so, if you go to my website, you'll see that we've got a resource page. We partner and connect with everybody, anybody and everybody that wants to share our information on their website. We will share their information on our website. And, it's not all about us. To me, it's about the collaboration. It's about the collective, right?
Yep.
If we get the word out on services out there that great organizations are providing our veterans and we're saving lives, okay, and we're making their lives better, then you know what? We've accomplished a big mission, a huge mission. So I'm all for that, Albert, and I can guarantee you after we get done with this podcast, buddy, we'll be going back and forth. I'll introduce you to Alex, who works on my website. She'll get any type of information you want to share with us. I'll make a whole page for you, buddy. I mean, and I've got a lot of people following me as well, and it's growing. Mm-hmm. Because we do a couple things. We've got 2 primary fundraiser events, which I think you'll find pretty cool. And I think mm-hmm. some of the people watching your podcast will think it's pretty neat too. So we started a program about 8 years ago. It'll be the 8th year. And I started it at Fort Logan National Cemetery in the Denver, Colorado area. I was living in Castle Rock at the time. And me and my wife out there, we got 500 roses, and we started and it was in conjunction with another nonprofit, which is called Memorial Day Flowers, right? They were doing it at Arlington, where they were placing a rose at the foot of the grave of our fallen.
Mm-hmm.
And so me and my wife started it under Victory for Veterans 8 years ago at Fort Logan with 500 roses. Now we're doing it at 10 cemeteries across the country. And we have anywhere from 150 to 200 volunteers come out and help us place the rose. And a lot of those people have loved ones that are buried at those cemeteries, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for every rose that people donate, so when they go out and they spend $1 for a rose, 50 cents of it comes back to Victory for Veterans. So it helps us with our mission, right? And our goal is to grow it to all 158, VA managed cemeteries across the country, and some of the state cemeteries and some of the private cemeteries. We take care of the one in Central Texas, the State Veterans Cemetery, and that's where my father-in-law is buried, the one that died from suicide.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of honor him on Memorial Day. So that's just a great event, and you know what? Families love it, and we do it early in the morning so they can go do their other stuff. But to me, that's for the real meaning of Memorial Day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Honoring those that have made the ultimate sacrifice. We just kind of take it one step further and we say, hey, you know what? The people that served for 20 or 30 years or served in combat, maybe they didn't die in action, right? But they passed on. They made a sacrifice for our country, right? So we're going to honor them on Memorial Day as well and place that rose at the foot of their grave. Families love it. They just love it, man.
You know something, and I'm glad you're mentioning that, because even taking it further than that, I love that we get to collaborate in a way where if you have an idea or if I have an idea, we can go, okay, here it is. It's on the table. Now take it, elevate it, but also get it grounded. Make sure it happens quickly. So and also for, let's say, generations, right? So I have 5 kids, just to let everybody know that. And I learned real fast being in Afghanistan, flying medevac missions and going through a divorce at the time, that you're not going to save the world from thousands of miles away flying missions. Yes, I loved being where I was doing what I was doing, things like that. And it's bittersweet, just like anything else is, that I'm proud as shit to have done it. But that's when I had that aha moment of, very similar to SEER training, where they tell you, okay, you have to at some point pull it into yourself and go, okay, what am I supposed to do? And the way to move things forward, coming back to what Colonel was just talking about, is I think there's a cool way of getting the kids involved in this, to where let them know, yes, life and death is real, that there are warriors out there. Not all of them are, let's say, combat. It could be a faith warrior. It could be great preachers, great produce, farmers and stuff like that produce the food that's around us. Colonel's from Indiana, and I'm in Indiana now, and he's from Illinois. So we were talking about that before we came on live, that there's plenty of food around here. As long as you like corn and soybeans, there's plenty of food. So, but my point in pushing this forwards is because it's nice that us guys bring, let's say, hopefully some peace from our combat experience to the civilian world. But it's not ours to always deliver that. So my point is, I live right down the road from the Boy Scouts. I don't know if it's their national headquarters. It's a pretty big building over there. But like Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, I happen to just tear down a flag that gets all nasty from being out in the weather, right? And what do? You hand it to the Boy Scouts. They have a little ceremony and stuff like that. So I think there's a way of pushing what Colonel's doing and what I'm doing even forwards, and getting more of the youth involved. And that's I've got multiple books I'm working on, because there's the first 5 F's to give for veterans, making sure you're taking care of your family, your faith, your finances as quickly as possible. So fast is another F in there. And then my other book, and I'm saying all this for a purpose, but the next book is over my right shoulder here, which is how to, from within yourself, move your mission forwards, figure out who to be around, who not to be around, and move your mission forwards fast. Third book currently in the series is about small teams doing great things. And that's what Colonel and I are talking about doing now. Another book in my series is going to be probably a freaking coloring book or something for kids, because we have to build ourselves up, or with our own knowledge, we have to build up our next generation. And a young guy said this very well from the table, from the stage rather. And there were very few people in the room, and I was one of them, with Donald Trump Jr. and this other guy. And the other guy is the CEO of, I always want to say it backwards, but he's the CEO of Public Square. I got it right, Public Square. And he said that they want to be the Amazon for conservatives. So I'm on Public Square. Hope Colonel can get on Public Square too. Hope you guys check out Public Square. They, as the line said, they want to be the Amazon for conservatives. But as that town hall meeting, as it was going forwards, the young man who's the CEO of Public Square, he said, I just had my first kid not too long ago, and I probably would tell you, if I were to tell you my mission from months ago, it probably would have been blah, 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 story stuff, blah, 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 stores and buy my stuff. And I want to sell your stuff and I want to make money. And he said, but once you have a kid, it becomes about that one thing. And that's family. And you go, wow, my whole world still matters to me, but now my whole world is making the world better for my family, my kiddos. I've got 5 kids, so I'm ahead of him. So I've had that thought many times. I bet Colonel's got some probably kids and probably some grandkids either in the mix or ready to go right now. But you have to, like in military, we always train somebody behind us, right? Crawl, walk, run, fly. You got to be able to train the person behind you. And so Colonel and I are helping with our wisdom be able to motivate you guys, but you guys have to take the next steps, and we have to help you and be a guide. But we still have to go carry the torch for many other people that still need that boulder starting to get pushed up the hill. And so I just want to really motivate you guys to do that. If you want change, be the change. I watch a lot of Dan Bongino and several others that I probably don't get to watch as much as I want to, but I won't say I steal a lot of their language, but I would definitely say Dan Bongino talks about one of his greatest lines that he always refers back to, which he admits isn't his, is be the change. If you're looking for change, be that change. Start a podcast, write a book, do something that's uncomfortable. Us men, especially, that's why it's in the paperwork of our founders, is pursuit of happiness. Men, I don't think we get happiness. Our happiness is pretty short-lived. I work hard. I get to see a puppy when I bring it home, and my kids get elated. And then a couple of days later, it's peeing everywhere, and I'm pissed off and stuff like that. Right? So our happiness is short-lived because we're like, oh, well, we'll have happiness in spurts as long as my kiddos are happy and not hungry and that kind of thing. So, and I see Colonel over there laughing at that it's true. So yeah. We got to create happiness for others, not ourselves. But
you got to do what
get our happiness when we can.
Yeah, you got to do what I do, man. When I have one of those moments, I get out on the Harley, buddy, and I get a little wind therapy.
There you go.
So yeah. So I'm a big Harley rider. That's one of our other events. We before COVID, we had about 9 events going around the country where we did what we called the VFV ride, and we would raise money doing a poker run or a dice run with veterans and first responders. And I'm still doing it to this day. I got one coming up 1 June last year here in the Woodlands, Texas. We raised over $5,000 in one day. So, they're pretty big events. We had probably about 110 riders. But you also talked about, you kind of mentioned a little bit about, children and stuff. And I just wanted to let you know, I've had a Boy Scout group and a Girl Scout group out of Lakewood, Colorado, that's helped me every year with a flower in every grave. Nice. Those kids show up. They help me break down all the roses because we'll get 15 to 20,000 roses shipped in, right? And they'll help me break down the roses, and they'll help me distribute them to the volunteers coming through. And we get families that bring out all of their children, right? And the children help, place the roses. And I think it's great that they're doing that with their kids, giving them a good understanding of what Memorial Day is all about. But you're absolutely right. Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, those are great organizations, and they are helping us out at almost all of our 10 cemeteries, that we're working this year. And we just brought on Fort Snelling up in Minnesota just this year. That's our newest one. And we've got Raleigh National Cemetery, out there in North Carolina. And we've got Augusta. We've got Battle Creek National Cemetery up in Augusta, Michigan. We've got Oregon Trail, up in Wyoming, and of course Fort Logan, and then I've got Fort Bliss, What other one do I have? I got Fort Bliss. I've got Central Texas. I've got the Houston National Cemetery, and then I've got the one up in San Antonio, and I can't think of the name. Anyway, we've got them all on board, and I'm looking to add one in Alberta, Alabama, Fort Spanish National Cemetery, and every year we're going to add one or two. But so anyway,
definitely lean on me and my staff, because I've got pockets of clients everywhere. Like when you're mentioning things like Arizona, I'm going, oh yeah, I know guys I've got out in Arizona, and there's motorcycle stuff. We'll circle back to motorcycle things.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely will. I mean, I've got all kinds of stuff to send you, and I think this is a great connection, Albert. I mean, you got a lot of people out there connected, and you know, what I do is I find veterans out there like myself that ride Harleys, and I said, hey, you know, if you're part of the American Legion Riders, or if you're part of the VFW Riders, hey, you know what? You host a ride for me to help me bring in funds to do my mission, right, of healing veterans, and we'll give you 25% of the proceeds to work on your mission. So we're very giving, you know, when we set those up. And, you know, this podcast is great because I'm sure there's veterans out there that want to do something and want to give back. You know, get in touch with us, man. Hey, we can line you up with a lot of things. But I just, you know, and I know this conversation is going to go along, but, you know, Victory for Veterans is just one organization I'm involved with, but I'm also, I've been a board member, a board of director member for another national nonprofit called the National Veterans Transition Service, aka Reboot, out of San Diego. And I've been on their board of directors for 8 years. And you talk about a great organization that's helping veterans transition off of active duty back into civilian life, right, to get the jobs and everything. They've been around for almost 14 years now, and they're just doing a fantastic job. Otherwise, you know, I wouldn't be on that board. But I tell you what, those guys, they've got it down. They've got handheld stuff that veterans can put on their iPhone or their Android that can lock them in with jobs all over the country and opportunities, you know, after they go through this transition program. They got money rolling in from Kohler up in Wisconsin, right? The one that makes the bathroom products.
Yeah.
Right. Kohler gives them $20,000 to $25,000 a year just to keep transitioning veterans, you know, into their workforce.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that. And then I mentioned to you before we got on the podcast, one thing I'm really proud of is the number of veterans that I've been able to help wipe out their medical debt. Even though we have veterans that can use the VA or they're 100% disabled and, you know, they're getting a lot of their care taken care of. Well, prior to the Patriot Act, you know, when that came, which is a great program, by the way, it's working. I use the VA 100%. Patriot Act is good. But prior to that, we had that community benefit program where people had to have a special code, you know, and they had to respond. Well, guess what? There's about $6 billion out there right now that the government, that the VA is trying to collect from our veterans. Okay. And so 8 years ago, that got me involved with a company called RIP Medical Debt. And I've been able to wipe out $126 million in debt, affecting over 74,000 individuals. Okay. And that's a nonprofit, it's a charity. And, but I'm also responsible for wiping out debt for civilians across the country as well. And we've wiped out about $10.4 billion in debt. And if you're familiar with Mackenzie Scott, right? Jeff Bezos' ex-wife. Yeah, she vetted us back in November of 2020. She's given us $80 million to date to help with our mission. Last year alone, we raised over another $25 million. And I think by the end of this year, we'll be up to $20 billion in debt that we've wiped out in this country, you know, for families, you know, individuals, for veterans, you know. I love what I do. So there's a lot of things that we can do as veterans, right? Once we take off that service cap, besides getting bald.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm in the club too. Yeah.
Yeah. We can go out there and we can do something. And I tell you, the reason I'm involved in all this stuff, Albert, is number one, I want to leave a good world behind for my 3 girls. That's number one. Family is important. Number two, I don't care about the legacy. I don't care about anybody saying, hey, you know, Colonel Burroughs was a good guy. I just want to do something to help save people's lives, okay, until the day they fold my flag. and I want to be productive until the day they fold my flag. So there is no retirement for me, buddy.
Mhm.
None.
Yeah.
Zero.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks for letting me share just a little bit of some of the other things that I've done. And
Well, I definitely want to talk about a couple of those since you mentioned them, the transition stuff. So let's talk about transition stuff now. I don't want to leave the hospital stuff on the table because that's important. But here's what's crazy. So let me give you some stats too. There's one nonprofit that I was connected with, and we've had partnerships in the past and continue to grow our partnerships. Some official, some are unofficial. And so there's one guy who's not with the nonprofit anymore, but this nonprofit has over 50,000 current veterans and service members because they're a transition group as well, everywarrior.org. So feel free to look that up.
mm-hmm.
But they do great stuff. But one of the guys that was a connection there for me, he sent me 50 people. And out of 50 people that I delivered their $3 million, that equals out to 160 million life-changing dollars to those veterans, and it goes to the veterans. So, and that's why we're expanding on our partnerships, because I got, let's say, 50 out of 50,000. That means there's a shitload of them left over that I still haven't put my hands on. The Army kicked out, just for an example, 200,000 troops who refused a jab.
Right.
And actually, I started getting clients from that who had before the 200,000 started getting out. I already had clients coming out who had already been injured because of the jabs and stuff like that, and other things. And so I was already working with clients of mine that had adverse reactions. And so my point back to the transition, it's called Reboot, is what you said?
Yeah, it's yeah.
But so what's nice about any good organization that's helping out with that you call it transition, I call it transformation. So when you're transforming from your service to your future, you have to be surrounded positively and have checks and balances. That's why I now help my clients. I've got another, as far as a coach, that's what's on my screen right now, is the Fulfilled Veteran Coach. That's what I help you guys through as well, is more on an individual basis, if you want to call it that, or small group basis. And I use a lot of baseball terminology. So like, in order to hit a grand slam in life, you got to get on base first. That's what you just have to do that. And I can't tell you, I bet Colonel will tell you too, there's a lot of people who have leaned on, well, I was a Green Beret. I was a 160th guy. I was hot shit and, Colonel so-and-so or General whatever. And then you get out and you get your teeth kicked in, because the civilian world does not give a damn about your chest candy. I'm telling you guys, it doesn't care. And I'm about to stand up because I got to get emotional on it. All right. I sat down for long enough. I've been sitting down for like 35 minutes. I can't believe it. All right. So now the blood's definitely flowing. All right. Myself included, I bet Colonel did this too. You probably thought chest candy was going to make it happen. I'm a pilot. I'm making six figures, low six figure, and as a senior captain, O3E. And I thought, holy shit, am I going to take the world by the horns? I'm a pretty young guy, early 30s at the time. And I'm going to wear suits and ties, and people are just going to go, hey, come on in. Where the hell have you been? We got this big ass check back here for you. It's going to be fucking roses and rainbows from now on out. Colonel, go with me on this. What did I do?
Ain't gonna happen.
Face. So
ain't gonna happen.
Ain't gonna happen. And even I tried the best I could, because at the time the government said, "Hey, Albert, you got three options. Either you stay in where you are in Savannah, we send you back over to Afghanistan, let you fly around a little bit, come back, and 3 months later, you're out." Number two, they offered me a unicorn position out of Texas, to where I was going to be the only medevac captain who has ever been this, and this, and it would have been chest candy. But then I was going to get out, so that didn't make any damn sense. Or they said, hey, the most metropolitan area that we've got is, do you know of Indiana? I grew up on a cattle ranch east of Dallas, so I didn't really know anything about Indiana. So they said, well, there's Camp Atterbury there, and we can send you there, and it's at least metropolitan. It's about an hour down the road from Indianapolis. And go check it out, see what you think. So I took door number 3. I said, well, give me give me some time in the metropolitan area and let me see what goes on here. And you guys know this, and Colonel will back me up on this. When you are a service member, first year, bottom tier, you're just learning, you're snot nose. You're learning what the hell's going on in your job. Then you start doing your job. Maybe you do some combat stuff or become a jump master or whatever. And then you go back to the schoolhouse for a little bit, and then you go back out into the line and that sort of thing. That's how that rotates for your tenure, if I can call it that. Let me hang up on somebody. Give me a second. So that's what it starts out as. So but then you have to make a decision at some point in time of, I need to get out. And so I was at the schoolhouse, if you want to call it that, doing training stuff down here at Camp Atterbury. And I was in the head shed, and people that are there are either continuing their growth or they're getting out. It's pretty much it. It's kind of like the anti-basic training. It's like they're either continuing or not. And I was not. And it's a weird dynamic that even though the people around me knew that I was getting out, it was still, you had to perform business. You had to show up for PT and all this kind of crap. And even I didn't transition very well because of that. And I had people in my office who were like, "Oh, sir, you're supposed to be here, blah, blah, blah. We're working hard, blah." And I'm like, dude, all I'm doing is fucking PowerPoint slides. Like, anyway. So, and I'm trying to figure out life and go a single guy and all this kind of stuff too, right? So I'm trying to figure out my next part of life. And it is a lot. It is a lot. And the government does throw a lot at you in your exodus. And here's how to write a resume if you want to work at Home Depot or some dumb shit like that. So you're getting advice from a lot of, dare I say, how do they say that in contracting? The lowest bidder. So you're getting probably crap information from crap that government 8th grade reading level gave a shit about. The big green machine keeps on moving, so they don't care. And this was during the combat time, or during the longest war that we've ever had. And so the big green machine didn't really give a shit about Albert and what my plans were. And I felt that I was always different than other people. I wasn't the guy who would just go, okay, I want to be on man the machine gun, and I just want to be here, and I want to be in my little area, and that's all I want to do. There are people like that because there has to be an ecosystem. But I'm not that guy. I'm a more thought leader. I want to help other people do great things, which the government doesn't give two shits about, especially the military. They say, hey, go man that machine gun. Hey, go fly that mission. And that's it. But so I was thinking big, and therefore I had further to fall.
Oh, yeah.
I had further to fall. I was expecting I was going to go from being hot shit and walking into a room. Oh, that's a medevac dude. He's a superhero. I must have swallowed a fucking kryptonite pill. I'm religious, so I don't believe in suicide, but I get it. I can see how somebody would put a fucking gun in their face. I don't condone it. I don't suggest it. I suggest you talk to people like me and Colonel who go, hey man, I'm here. Dust yourself off. You're going to look back on this 5 years from now and go, thanks for that chat. Okay. So talk to us first. I've had phone calls like that. Talk to us first, man. Tomorrow is going to be here, and Colonel and I are going to be here tomorrow and tomorrow after that. But we are passionate because our pain makes us passionate. We don't want you to experience the shit, the horrors that we have. I've got dead family members. I've got people who died right next to me and stuff like that. I was a medevac pilot. People die. That's just part of life. You're not dead. Keep moving forwards. That's what special operators talk about all the time. Keep moving forwards. I want you 5 years from now to look back on this and go, man, I'm glad Albert said the right thing at the right time to me. Tomorrow we'll be here. You need to be here too. And there's whatever passion and tuning fork that's inside of you is God talking to you. And there's going to be naysayers. That's what my other book over my right shoulder is about. Is there's going to be naysayers. It could be your family member. It could be your brother, your sister, your best friend. I've lost a lot of relationships because honestly, I've outgrown them. I'm a bigger thinker and I'm a bigger doer than they are. And I'm not saying it to look down my nose. I don't have time to look down my nose. I'm too busy working with jump masters and 160th dudes and Colonel over here. I'm too busy being around what I call bees. And we'll talk about that story here in a little bit. That I like being around people I like being around because that's what God guides me to do. And when I do things like this, that's why Colonel's now leaning in going, what the hell? How is it? Why are we just now meeting? Because that's the time for us to meet. Maybe a year ago wasn't right for either one of us, and maybe
That's
now
right.
it is. Maybe it's the right time for us to be looking you in the eye, whoever's listening to this, and going, man, you're the one I'm talking to. So know that that's why we're here. So my book about the first $5 to give, I'm going to hold it up again. It's on my website as far as we're doing a bunch of things with it right now. But I'm bringing that up because you have to focus on your finances. I know Colonel talks about how he knows how to get rid of some debt and things like that. I try to grab you before you have debt. I try to get a hold of you. And I mean, things happen. I've got kids, they've fallen and shit happens. I got it. But how do you best prepare? And that is by knowing what money the government is hiding from you, where it is, and how you get to it. And the big check that's behind me is because every veteran's worth $3 to $5 million in their lifetime, and I help deliver it very, very quickly. So compared to anybody else out there, and the government has slowed down. So, and anytime that you leave on the table, that money gets wiped off the table and it gets pushed out over Ukraine or some other country you don't want to know about. So that money is there for you. I've got my money. Colonel probably is receiving his money to a certain degree, and there's even stuff he doesn't know about that I know about. But that's
I'll be checking with you, brother.
Yeah, but I want to help all of you guys get your money because you should, I'm a non-retiree. I've got a big family. So let's say basic family of 4, a non-retiree should receive about $4,500 a month tax-free. A retiree should receive probably $7,000 to $7,500 a month. And that's just Uncle Sam. That's not even property tax savings, kids in college money for you, death benefit money for your family later on in life. I'm the guy that knows this. So if you're not receiving that, I will have you go into your own brain, into your emotional bank account and go, oh shit, I'm not receiving that. Fuck, I'm missing out. And you are, because I've got kids that are heading into college now. And I feel, after being 100% permanent total now for 5+ years, I feel blessed that I'm not worried about where the money is. And Colonel and I were talking about this, I think before we came on the air, of how hard it is for a 26-year-old out there right now. And I was 26 when I made a pivot from being enlisted over to officer and started my family. And I can't imagine, even we'll talk some basic numbers just real quick since we're talking about that. I saw a basic number from, if you're a family of 4 right now in your mid-20s, just if you have, both of you are working, husband and wife are both working, and basic family of 4, so you need kid daycare. In essence, you can't afford it. The interest rate is so high right now on houses, and even, no kidding, they're building new houses near me, and probably you guys too. Remember when they would have the signs out there that said, hey, these houses are starting in the 100, 150 range, and the next door one would say, we're bigger houses and we're more expensive, starting out at 300,000 or whatever. My wife and I noticed, although they're building a lot of houses, they don't put those numbers out there anymore. And that's a very, very recent thing, because the housing market has went way up in a bad way. So, yeah.
Materials, everything.
Oh.
Yeah, I just got done building a house that took
wow.
two years to build here in Conroe. And both me and my wife still work, right? And that's with retirement. Okay, I'm still working full time for a nonprofit. I got my retirement. I'm just about ready to hit 67. I just applied for Social Security, my full benefit, right? It's 66 in 6 months. But with all of that, we're still struggling, right? Because, I'm paying for 3 daughters, college educations. I went out and borrowed money for all 3 of my girls to make sure that they were well educated and had an opportunity to be successful in life. I'll be paying that back for the next 7 or 8 years, right? And it's not a small payment. I mean, it's a couple cars worth. You know what I mean? So everybody is struggling right now, but there's ways. There's ways that you can make a difference in your life. And I appreciate the fact, Albert, that you're out there helping veterans, finding this money that they're entitled to. And we've got 18, 19+ million veterans still out there. that's a big clientele base, that you haven't tapped into. And I can tell you here at Victory for Veterans, we will definitely help you tap into our connections and the people that we're working with.
Yeah, I appreciate that too, because it's crazy when people get to know me and they learn about their own money and the process of it. So if I can just tell you this real quick, just to bring it back to the veterans of we all know of a pay chart. Hey, E6 with this many years gets paid this much money. Well, the VA's disability chart, don't believe the word disability. You're not disabled. Yes, you can work. Yes, you can make a tremendous living. I've got over 3,000 clients who are doing awesome shit around the world. So your pay chart, you may sit out there going, you know what, I'm good at 30, I'm good at 50, I'm good at 70, or I'm at 90 and I don't want to push the button. Or maybe even I'm 100%. So, but I'll tell you this real quick. So the pay chart goes from just 90 to 100. Basic family of 4, 90 to 100 is a $1,500 a month raise. I got a couple of positive ands to that. That equates out to a 38% raise, by the way. So you guys listening to this, go to your boss right now and go, hey, I want a 38% raise, and see how fast they fire you. It's not going to happen. But the Uncle Sam is hiding that from you right now. And that's a 38% raise, $1,500 a month. Every 10 months, add a zero. I'm the Army guy. Every 10 months, add a zero. $15,000 every month, or I'm sorry, every 10 months you've left on the table. I was at 90% for 5 years, and I was shocked to even get 90%. Thankfully, I had a good mentor that helped me, but very similar story as Colonel. That guy ended up committing suicide later. And right around the time his daughter was getting married, right after her marriage and stuff, and God knows why. But there have been some really cool people in my life that have been either beaten down by, I would say, their own internal demons or external forces. But that's what I'm trying to keep you from, the best of my ability. And one of the easiest ways for you to feel fulfilled is through your money, your finances, making sure that your bank account is where it's supposed to be. And so when you go from 90 to 100 just by itself, that's a $1,500 a month raise. Also, that's where the crazy money comes in. The military, we try to call it benefits. It's crazy money. I'll tell you a couple of them. Property taxes. So you guys in Texas, California, Florida, even Nebraska are spending $1,000 a month in property taxes at least. And so when you get to 100% in those states, no property taxes. Therefore, over a 40-year lifespan, that's $500,000 of your dollars that were supposed to be yours the whole time. So that's a big one. We're talking about college stuff. So when you're 100% permanent total like me, there's state level and then there's federal level. So I've got 5 kids heading into college. So there's state level. So here in Indiana, and most states have programs very similar to this, but there'll either be a reduction or a complete removal of tuition and fees. So imagine today how horrible it is to have, like he said here, the student loan debt and stuff like that. So my kids are going into college and they don't have to take out student loans because 2 things. One, the state covers their tuition and fees, which is crazy amount right now anyway. Secondly, there's the VA has, or the federal government has what do they call it? Chapter 35. So Chapter 35 is where I'll receive about a $1,400 a month stipend per kid every month as long as they're going full time. So my 5 kids going to college will receive no debt, and actually I'll get paid in essence to go to college because my service earned it. Isn't that crazy? And that's just the beginning. That's just the beginning. Yeah. For my clients, I am the first phone call. Hey, Albert, we had a baby. What's that mean? Hey, Albert, we moved from here to there, state to state, whatever. What's that mean? And I'll always be able to tell you that, well, let's find out. If I don't know, let's fucking find out. And you just never know what that is. I always want to be you guys' first phone call. That's why I tell you that although we have a client relationship for life, I want to deliver as much of your money in your pocket in the first 2 years of us working together. And the only reason why it takes 2 years is because the government slowed down after COVID. So just let you know, life-changing money is yours, and let's go get it. No, but that's what hopefully Colonel and I can keep working together on that. Yeah. To where I'm on his website He's on my website to be able to talk up what he's doing out there. I'd certainly love Colonel to be able to sponsor you guys and some rides that you got coming up and events that you guys do. So don't let me forget about that. But we'll be able to put a lot of your information on my by the time that this is delivered out there to the masses. We'll be able to have a bunch of your links and things in the chat boxes and descriptions, stuff like that too. So
no,
definitely
I certainly appreciate it. And we'll do the same for you, Albert, as well. You know, you have my word on that. My word is solid, buddy. Let me tell you. I love partnering. I love partnering with people, and I like the fact that you were in aviation. There was one time in my career on active duty that I was an E5 and I was stationed in Shape, Belgium, from 1977 to 1980. And I was with the 357th Aviation Detachment. We had 3 UH-1 helicopters, and our job was to fly Alexander Haig, the Supreme Allied Commander, all over Europe. And we had 6 of the best pilots that the Army could produce out of Fort Rucker, that most of them had at least 2 or 3 tours in Vietnam. Highly decorated pilots. And, you know, I'm still in contact with all of those pilots today. And at the time, I was like only 19 years old. And my commander at the time was Major Edwards, and he was a Vietnam veteran and a pilot in Vietnam. He is now a retired colonel, and he lives in Edwardsville, Illinois, and we're still in contact to this day. Nice. He was the one that got me excited about going to OCS and, you know, trying to make a difference, you know, and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm in contact with all the pilots that are still alive. I think 2 of them have passed, you know, because of age and everything like that. But there's still 3 or 4 of them that are still around, and we're still in contact to this day. And that was a neat assignment. So I got to spend a lot of time on helicopters.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I get to work with 160th, guys above them too. And I've got at least 6 pilots from Marine One and Air Force One, Air Force Two. Those guys are mine. The drug interdiction folks down in Central America, the air crews, ground crews, those are mine. All the Apache folks over in Guitar, hi. Those guys are mine. So yeah, it's good stuff. Love it. That's what we were talking about, like little pockets of people. Yeah, it's funny that the pocket could be like an airborne group or a race or something. It's funny how it's just funny. I've got like a bunch of Indian people that are my clients too, because everybody's got their little groups. So but yeah, it's just so funny. You just never know who's going to come over. I've got the toughest women on earth are my clients too. Oh my gosh, man. I got a young lady I'm just thinking of where she was about 28 and steely eyed and working with right next to Green Berets. She had to do everything that Green Berets had to do. And they said, hey, either you stay in and do more snake eating kind of shit, or you get out and have a family. And she chose to get out and have a family. So, but if I can say this too, Colonel may say something different, but I will tell you, most people that I bump into say, Albert, I wish I would have done what you did. I wish I would have done probably 10 years, get that wisdom, get out while you still have youth in your favor. I've talked to a lot of guys, W5s, 05s, 06s who, man, they just, maybe their career path is a little different. You know, there are sometimes it happens very, let me say it this way. Colonel maybe will say, hey, you know, my life was fucking all rainbows and that's good. That's rare. Most of us have been kicked in the teeth too much. And you get to a point where you're like, well, I've already done 10. So have you guys ever had somebody just tell you, oh, you didn't want to do 20? There's a huge ass difference between 10 years and 20. So just especially during the combat rotations that I was involved in, like, holy crap, man. So, but get your wisdom and get out. Cause honestly, you're either going to get, it's just my Albert's little soapbox. Anywhere you are, even civilian world, there's a bell curve of, I call it a life cycle. Always lean out on top. Always get out on top. Cash in your chips and go do something else. Take that wisdom and move forwards with it somewhere else. You're going to be a hell of a lot more better off for yourself and for people around you than when you do that. Because otherwise, once you start on that downward curve and you're miserable, everybody else around you is miserable too. I know us. We're veterans. We're only veterans, no veterans. We're silent professionals. We're internal. We're we're team oriented, we're mission oriented. However, like one guy told me, he said, grit is good unless it's not. So you ever run your engine dry? You know it's not good for it. You ever throw sand in your tank or something? That's not good for it. But like, you know, you can use sand to sandblast and clean something and make it better, sure, but not from the inside while it's supposed to be driving. Like you have to, you have to break that up into separate phases of your life. And so my suggestion to you is, and why I'm here is, I want to make sure that you guys know that there's a need for a hell of a lot more veterans to be business owners out there and to be great thought leaders. Go get on your school board. Go get into politics. I love that I didn't watch the whole State of the Union yesterday. Who the fuck would do that to themselves? But I do like seeing some chest candy from our brothers and sisters in arms out there. And I don't think I'm ever going to run for politics unless the world goes to shit worse than it is already. I don't know. But I'm just doing what I'm doing and run podcasts and some books and stuff like that. But run for some kind of politics. Be the change. Get on the school board. Start your own stuff. There's so many great ideas out there, and you can connect way faster. That's one of my biggest F's out there, is connecting faster. Don't fall into the trap that most of us have of, let's say, self-deprecation. And I don't say you're in the corner all by yourself, but you feel like that sometimes because the people around you don't understand what you've been through. But guys like me, I do. I know what you've been through. I know what you're going through. I probably know what you're going to go through. I've been through so much shit. I've done a lot in 43 years. So a lot of things that most people don't unfortunately get to go through. And I don't want you guys experiencing the same shit that I have. I'm surprised I've got all my fucking fingers and toes and all my heart valves right now. It's insane, the shit that I've lived through. But I don't want you guys to have to live through that. I want you to take the advice I'm telling you now, learn from my mistakes and other people's mistakes. I can share their stories, get you in that bell curve, depart at the top. You'll be so much more valued for yourself. Because like Colonel and I would be able to tell you, if somebody gave us $1 million today to put in our bank account and just say, hey, live the way you want to live, I guarantee you, Colonel and I would put on this fucking armor tomorrow, right? This is my armor. Every single day I zip up this hoodie with the same fashion of let's get it done.
Yep.
Right. I saw it. I saw it smile. I know.
That's a good point. And you know, for the older guys like me, right, that maybe did the 20, right, or did the 25 or 26 or whatever, you know, it's not the end. And don't go back and sit on your laurels and sit down, right? I'm involved in so many things right now, so many different nonprofits, on boards, right? So what does that do? Well, for a person that has that retirement, now you're building a resume of experience, right, that people can tap into. I mean, I've got 9-10 years board experience, right? And if you ever go out there and look at the jobs that are available, right, for boards and for board members and for advisors that are paying jobs, I'm telling you, a lot of our military veterans that have retired, there's a great opportunity out there for you, right? And, you know, don't sit back in the easy chair. You know, get out there and do something for your brothers and sisters, and you can make a big difference, and you can make a big difference for yourself. It's kept me, you know, I'm 66 going on 67, but a lot of people look at me, if it wasn't for the gray, they would say, oh my God, man, you're 67? Hell, I can still run circles around my daughters.
Especially at chow time, right?
That's, well, anytime.
Yeah, right.
I always challenge them. But, you know, I really challenge some of our older veterans too. You know, don't get caught in that. You know, there's nothing for me to do out there. There's so much for you to do, and you can help so many of our younger veterans as well. And that's why I'm here with Albert today. I want to help young veterans. I want to help veterans stay alive. I want to help veterans get engaged, you know, and do something with their life, you know, after their service. There's so much that you can do. It could be faith-based. It could be nonprofit, you know, but you have a lot of wisdom and you have a lot to give.
I'm going to give you my B story now, since I've brought it up multiple times. So this is a good sniff test. So there's an ecosystem for a reason. So I tell my kids and staff, and now I use it in almost every podcast, where I want you guys to be able to have this test, and it's bee or fly. So ecosystem needs bees, ecosystem needs flies. So bees are communal. They've got a little area, they've got their little sector, and bees, they've got they're communal. So they've got a joint mission and values, standards, and they've got their little area. They do what they do, and they've got one stinger. So they want to make sure that they choose their battles, right? So a bee will do what's right for the community. Flies, they just eat shit for 6 weeks and then die. Haters are going to hate. There's anywhere you go, there's going to be haters out there for you. You may have one in the family, or you may have one very close to you as a friend or coworker or something like that. If you're, I don't even call it a big idea guy. You don't have to be a leader, but be a good teammate, right? How many times we think in small groups, you're like, holy crap, this really great idea got started in a garage. How many bands have been started in garages? That's everybody's story is, well, I had an idea, and then we came together and we started it small, and then we just did it, improved it, and did it, improved it. And then life happened and all that kind of stuff. So my point back to that story is, when you notice that there are people out there who are flies, just don't try to convince yourself, well, let me just give them a little bit more time. Let me talk them into it. Once you get that sniff test and you're like, this person smells like shit, I'm talking to a fly right now. So, and we can see that in each other. And I can look at certain people out there who I know are flies, and I can see the people that they hang around with. They hang around flies. I can see when I talk to bees, and I pay people that are bigger than me. I pay them to, in essence, be my mentor and be my guide, because you have to have that. You have to have somebody that's 2 or 3 layers above you where you want to be. Because if you're like me and Colonel here from small town, nowhere, whatever, I almost said like Mississippi and whatever, give me wherever the hell you are. It's okay, because you still have God in you, and you still have great things in you, and God has a great plan for you. So get the hell out of your own way and just let God take the wheel, and you'll be just fine. So that's why I get to wear my PJs to work every day and chat with the coolest people on earth. And it's a blast. So once you realize flies in the room, I would say if you're working at a place and you don't like it, say, hey, wifey poo, I'm gonna need your support, because I gotta quit. I don't know what's next, but something bigger is out there for me. I gotta go talk to Colonel and Albert and find out what that is. Because I will tell you this, that when I take my clients through my not my veteran money, but more the how to get your business going, how to get your business growing. So more the business side is, I do talk about that. You have to start out with an idea, and then take that idea and prove it. Now I do try to get you guys, is if you're still working somewhere else making day money, great. Because then you got that safety net. Because if you got that safety net, you're going to be way better off of knowing how to get your business off the ground. You have to have business bank accounts and Albert Wink's LLC or something like that out there, or nonprofit, whatever it is you're trying to do. You have to get it going, and then you start getting your staff and stuff like that, and you start getting it growing. And what I help my clients do is get to their first $1 million in their business. That's just the start. Then it becomes, the next layer is to get you to your first $1 million in your own pocket. You guys probably know Grunt Style. Let's see what else is out there. We've got Nine Line Apparel, a couple others, Black Rifle Coffee, stuff like that. Those are like the big 3. But we've been in combat for like 20 something years. Shouldn't there be a shit ton of them? There should be. And the reason why there's not is because you guys aren't doing what you're supposed to do. That's why I'm telling you that you need to do what you want to do, because you're the next big thing. You are the next big thing, or you're going to be part of the next big thing. And you'd much rather work there than in Amazon's warehouse or something. I know this because you guys tell me this shit. So just want to let you know, I can help you get your idea off the ground, get you going, get you growing, and then get you your first $1 million, and then get you your first $1 million in your company, then your first $1 million in your pocketbook. And imagine how much the world changes once you've got $1 million in your own bank account.
Yep.
How many people you could help? Because once you get that first $1 million in anything, even in your own business, then you start going, how else can I help out? How can I be more graceful with my dollars and be able to hand my dollars to to create jobs for myself or others, or give to my brothers and sisters in arms out there that are doing nonprofit work, and partner with them, because that's where we are now, is at that. We made the $1 million for ourselves and that kind of stuff. Now I'm partnering from now on with big organizations and other organizations to help us get all that abundance. So whatever that abundance is for you guys, but it starts with an idea. It starts with a person, a connection, a conversation, and it just has to be proven every single day. That's why I said, if Colonel and I were offered $1 million today and it just all of a sudden landed on our desk, we'd be thankful for it. And we'd just go, all right, well, I'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same channel. And that's what we do. So, and I know it's what you do too, but right now you're probably just eating shit sandwiches from whatever boss you've got. And you're like, oh, there's cool people like Albert and Colonel out there. I want to go work with them. Yeah, you should. So, well, let you know. Thoughts on that, Colonel?
No, I mean, you've hit it. Yeah, I mean, I love what I do, and I keep adding more to it. Of course, my wife says if I add another thing, she's going to shoot me.
Well, hopefully not gun lessons then, I guess.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. No, I'm keeping her away from those. But I mean, that's just part of it. For me, it comes from within, right? So I think one of the other things that one of the points that you got to make is, if you're a bee or a fly, right? If you're a fly, it's not coming from within. But if you're a bee, okay, you're going to get out there. I mean, I use the same analogy between the ducks and the eagles, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're an eagle, you're going to be out there soaring, right? You're going to be looking down at the ducks that are sitting in the duck pond, just quacking, saying, hey, this is the way it's always been, right? So you got to put the eagle wings on, man, and you got to get out there and, utilize those talents, connect with people. I mean, I'm constantly connecting with people. And even though I might not be where I want to be, with Victory for Veterans right now, we've been in the black for the last 7 years. Mm-hmm. And that's a good thing, right? We're managing it, right? We have no paid employees. I don't get paid. All of our dollars go back to our veterans, okay? I mean, we're doing this because we love what we're doing, okay? Now, do I always want it to be that way? No. I mean, eventually I'm going to build this thing, right, to where I could potentially have another career at, age 70 or at age 75, right? And still helping veterans. I mean, that's the ultimate goal. I might even employ one of my daughters, to help me with videos, these little social, mm-hmm. these people that know how to do the social media much better than I do. But it's got to come from within. You've got to have that desire, okay? And if you've lost that desire, then you got to reach out to people like Albert, who's going to help ignite that. Reach out to a guy like me who'll help ignite that, and just say, hey, you know what? Don't be the couch potato. Don't be the duck. Don't be the fly. Get the eagle wings on, right? Get the bees buzzing. Get your stinger out. Find your target. Find the 25-meter target. Nail it, and then you can start working for the 50-meter target. Then you can start working for the 100-meter target, all the way out there, at 400 meters. But yeah, it comes from within. You just got to have the desire, right? And the nice thing about veterans, the nice thing about our community, right, is we understand discipline. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you've lost it, you need to reach back and grab it, find that discipline to get motivated and go out there and do what you have the ability to do, and that's make a difference. So yeah, you're right on all points, Albert. Glad I had the opportunity to be with you today, man. This is cool. It's pretty awesome. I think what you're doing is awesome, and yeah, we're definitely going to be a partner with you. We're definitely going to support your mission, bud.
Vice versa too, because all we can do is, and I think Colonel would agree with me that I think both of us go to sleep. The only heartburn we probably have going to sleep is there's too many veterans out there that we're not touching today.
That's right.
And we have to link arms in order to get connected with you guys and gals, and just get you squared away through our connections. And there are bad nonprofits out there. There are bad people out there. But once you identify who they are, and that's what's nice about having like mentors and stuff like Colonel and I, is to be able, because I've been on boards and stuff in committees, and And I've got the negative experience from being on boards and committees, and that's why I'm not on them right now, because I haven't found one. I think I should be on some and others, but some have had to clean house in the past couple of years, and maybe I'll retouch and that kind of thing. But we are the change, and you have to get out of your head, get out of your own headspace. That's one of the F's that I have, is to unfuck your mindset. That stop being that grunt. I mean, in the sense of, I know that you have the ability of chewing through a wall and carrying heavy weights and stuff. Like, I'm just going to use a name out there, like some of those motivators that they do a lot of physical stuff, and it's cool and all, but it's not, to me, at the end of the day, does it do what it's supposed to do? So at the end of every single day, what do I get to say? I get to say that I help deliver more money to a person, or more money to multiple people that I get to talk to per day. And I know that. And I know tomorrow I'm going to have the same phone call that, hey, I'm going to deliver your life-changing money to you. And I'm the only guy on earth who knows it. I'm the only guy who does it. I love that. That makes a difference. Not me running 1,000 miles a day. Who gives a fuck? I don't get that, but that's just me. And I don't care to understand it. I don't care to understand somebody else's weird shit. And they motivate you to run 1,000 miles, but I don't care. I mean, fitness is obviously important. Eat right, eat good food. But of course, most of our food now is poisoned from the fucking government and all this kind of crap. So anyway, I mean, I would say get off your ass and go do what puts money in your pocket first, and then do more good things for other people. And even just last week, somebody said to me on a recording, because I record my certain videos and stuff, but one of my clients said to me in front of a group that we've already changed his life, and now he's looking for more. Good. Terrific. Yeah. He's like, I'm young, and I did 4 years in the Corps, and you've already changed my life so much that I'm not worried about a year from now or 10 years from now, but I'm definitely wanting to know more about the money that I've got right now and how I can just crazy elevate my life. And I can't tell you how many times I've been told that Albert, my 5 or 10 year plan is now, holy shit, I can do this right now plan. I've got the money in the bank. I've got $25,000 worth of back pay just landed in my pocket, and I don't have to pay property taxes anymore. Holy shit, life changing. So yeah, just that really does help you get off the ground. Let's talk about motorcycle stuff.
Well, what do you want to talk about? So here's a good one for you. So in 2021, the old man here got on his 2015 CVO Road Glide Ultra, and I started from Denver, or started from Castle Rock, Colorado, where I was living, and I rode 10,000 miles in 20 days, covering 32 states, the entire Southeast, the entire East Coast, all the way to Maine, all the Mid-Atlantic states, back down into Tennessee and Kentucky, and I hit all the Midwest states. On the way, I stopped at St. Petersburg, Florida, and visited my oldest daughter. I stopped in Chicago, visited my middle daughter. Yeah, 10,000 miles, 20 days, 32 states, raised over $35,000, and wiped out $5 million in veteran health care debt in one fell swoop.
Wow. All your good stuff, right?
Yeah, that's and stuff. Riding, man, and riding and loving every minute of it. I even rode through New York City on my motorcycle. So yeah, I've done that twice now. I did one for 7,500 miles on the west side of the United States. So the only two states I've not ridden my motorcycle in, of course, is Hawaii, because they haven't built that bridge big enough yet. And I haven't. On it though, huh? Yeah, I hear it. I hear they are, and I haven't done Alaska. But I plan on doing Alaska. I mean, there's some gravel roads that you got to hit on your way up to Alaska, and you got to make sure you know where all the gas stations are once you pass Vancouver. So, but yeah, that's what I do, and we've got our VFV rides, and I just love getting out on the bike. Wind therapy is awesome for me. I mean, I can get out there. I mean, sometimes when I have a beautiful day like I've got today, I'll just get out on the bike, and I might ride in circles, putting in 20, 30, or 40 miles, and just getting out there, taking it easy.
Mhm.
But I love it, and a lot of our veterans support us on our rides, and we raise a lot of money. We're looking to open up a new ride in Salt Lake City, Utah this year. I'm working on a potential one down in Alberta, Alabama, um, and yeah, yeah. I'm just looking for veterans out there that
Mhm.
are, part of the American Legion Riders, the VFE Riders. They've got a mission to raise money to help veterans, and we can do it together. And we're very sharing in our Victory for Veteran rides. We share 25% of all of our proceeds, from the sale of our T-shirts. We've got T-shirts. I've got awesome challenge coins. I thought maybe I'd have one right here on my desk that a veteran designed, who did 8 tours, had PTSD, traumatic brain injury,
Mhm.
almost passed away, but art therapy was his thing. And we've gone through almost 3,500 coins that we've sold, to veterans, and just, we do 50-50, and we just raise a lot of money, but we have a lot of fun doing it. And, we write a nice check to those organizations, and then they can help more veterans. So,
Mhm.
it's got a compounding effect. So absolutely, Albert, if you got anybody out there that wants to be one of our VFV ride captains, put them in touch
Yeah, I
with
was gonna say,
me.
I've got
Yeah.
one of
Yeah.
my clients. He's, what do you call those? He's like a regional director of, I think, all of Indiana. So ladies, don't let me forget this. His name is Joe. Joseph, but he goes by Joe. And we'll get you connected with him. But he
Oh, yeah.
is, just to plug them, the combat motorcycle
Yep.
club.
Combat.
What do you call it? Yeah, is that what they
Yeah.
call it?
Yeah. A
And
lot of those guys join my rides, man. They get on there and they love it.
so I grew up in a cattle ranch in east of Dallas. So I grew up in that hot weather out there. So of course, when I was 18, that was my first purchase, was a motorcycle, and my dad never let me have one growing up, and so it was in my blood too. And so I've taken motorcycles over to Germany. Never got to ride that one because I was a young private with no damn money in Germany, and it was cold, a little colder in Germany than in Dallas. And then I've got a really cool motorcycle that when I got back from Afghanistan, I was like, oh, let me make this as if it were a 1940s World War II veteran coming back and just building it in his barn. And coincidentally, it's called a Lucky Strike, and I haven't talked about it much because it's got a sadder ending to the story, but it's made by the trucking company Swift. So Swift trucking company was making motorcycles for a while. I don't think they're doing it anymore, but it's called Lucky Strike, and I bought it used, but it was this candy apple red tank, and it was they had the Sportster tank, and it's like a bobber. It's like no front fender, and barely anything on the rear fender, rigid front end, or rigid frame, shit like that. And so a real kidney pounder, right? Well, I bought this thing in, gosh, Savannah, Georgia, I think is where I got it. And I was in and out of a lot of getting ready for Afghanistan, going to Afghanistan, all this kind of stuff. Got back, and I put more money into it to have the paint, complete overhaul on it. A
Right.
hangers on it with the old school rubber style handlebars or handles, and everything was painted army green. So that was pretty cool. And I had even on the air cleaner, I had a redheaded bomber girl on there, and again, go back to my tractor days. So the pipes were long, and they both came up back here, and they had the tractor caps on them, and even just sitting at idle. I mean, these babies are just dancing around. And when I told the people that built it, I was like, hey, this is what I want. And when they first thought of these tractor caps on there, they're like, oh, this doesn't sound very fun. But then once they built it, they're like, oh my God, that's the best idea ever. And just watching this thing, and oh man, then so some dummy in Savannah put sugar or salt in my gas tank, and that chewed up so much of the insides of my machinery that by the time I didn't get it fully put together, I was sent to Texas, San Antonio for a little bit, captain's career course. Then was sent up here to Indiana, and it sat in storage for a while. So then by the time I got to a point where I could do some refurb on it, I had a veteran who was working on it, older guy, and he was, oh my gosh, he ended up dying during him trying to work on my bike. And then his wife moved and took the motorcycle with her, and I can't get in contact with her. I have no idea where my motorcycle is. I've got this beauty of a motorcycle that I would love to ride, and I have no earthly idea where the hell it is. So if you ever see it out there, it's the only one, 8 hangers and freaking the caps on the back. And oh my gosh. So
yeah. Sounds pretty cool, man. Sounds pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, I'm now a Jeep guy because it's so cold here that it's nice. I've gotten into Jeeps and stuff. So I bought an older Jeep my son now has.
Well,
I've got a newer Jeep. So
that's why I moved out of Denver, man. I got tired of shoveling snow for the whole neighborhood. You know, the whole neighborhood. I had a big snow blower, you know, and I'd go out there and spend about 5 or 6 hours, you know. And but now that I'm down in Texas, you know, the hot weather doesn't bother me. If you spend a little time in Iraq or in Afghanistan, you know, your blood changes. You know, you wear a coat even when it's 80 degrees out. Yeah. But no, I love it down here. And the other reason I moved down here is I'm close to Hobby Airport down here in Houston. And another nice story, you'll enjoy this. So me and my partner, who was actually the founder for VFV, and he stepped down, and he's the treasurer now and a board member. And you know, they voted me in as the CEO. I was actually the chairman for Victory for Veterans for about 5 years. We bought 166 acres down in Costa Rica, and we've been working on it now for almost 3 years. We've got a great road network. It goes up about 435 meters above sea level. It's down below Uvita, Costa Rica, so it's on the Pacific side, and we have got these $1 million views of the Pacific Ocean and the sunset. And we have set aside 25 acres for a life readiness center down there.
Oh wow!
And we're just getting ready to put up a 2-bedroom facility down there that's going to be totally off the grid. You know, we're going to be collecting rainwater during the rain season. We've got solar. We've got a campground down there now, but we've got 3 phases of land that we've taken from that 166 acres that we're actually going to be selling. We just got done with the topographic survey for the 3rd phase. First phase and second phase are already registered with Costa Rica. We're going to finish that 3rd phase. We'll probably go through Caldwell International, but we want to sell to expats, you know. But the property alone, the 3 phases, there's about 15 lots on all 3 phases, and each one of those lots are like an acre and a quarter, okay, or an acre and a half. And I mean, this is jungle, right? You know, we've got guys out there clearing it. We've got Ticos out there clearing this sucker, you know, after every rainy season, because this stuff grows up, you know, within a week. But those properties are worth about $5 million. And that's going to help us set up the Life Readiness Center. And what we want to do is we're going to do drug addiction and alcohol addiction. But we're going to fly veterans down there free of charge. We're going to get them in the Life Readiness Center, and we're going to have them stay there for 12 to 24 weeks. We're going to have dorms for men and women. It'll be 2-man rooms, 2 women rooms, you know, so they'll be on the buddy program, right? And we're going to also train them in the trades. So we want to bring them down, get them out of their environment here in the United States, take them into this tranquil environment where they're waking up to monkeys in the morning and beautiful birds and all kinds of neat creatures in the jungle, right? Mm-hmm. Heal them, train them in the trades, right? And, you know, before we send them back to reboot, you know, and working with the National Veterans Transition Service, right, to find them a new job. But we want to get them healed, and we want to do that free of charge. So that's our master plan. We've been working on it for 3 years, but I don't share that with a lot of people because, you know, there's still a lot of work to be done. But I think we're going to build an awesome program, man.
But you have to, this is what I've learned. You have to declare, you have to say, hey, here's what I'm doing. That's why I held my book up. I didn't hold a physical book up because it's like, hey, this is what's coming. We just got to work. I've got a book deal that I've already signed. So I didn't say that earlier. Trevor Crane is my book publisher. And so I've got a contract with him, and we're doing great shit. So it's like, you have to declare and then document. You have to say, hey, here's the big thing that I'm working on, and I'm doing it every day. And it is maybe a multi-year process. That's what I tell all my clients. You're joining me to do a multiple millions of your dollars in your pocket journey. And so, yeah, we have to start with that fucking first step.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
We call it,
I know you probably mentioned this too, because I mentioned Costa Rica is where I've got all those air crews and ground crews down there that are my clients. And yeah, so it's such a small group down there that one time I had a phone call with a guy, and I didn't put together my staff. They put together some of my notes beforehand, and they'll usually have like, oh, my home is Colorado or whatever, and I just happened to mention to this guy that all the air crews and ground crews in Costa Rica are mine, and he goes, oh yeah, that's where I am. So I said it to him on the phone, and he's like, oh yeah, that's me, that's where I am. So, but yeah, definitely a lot of people down there. I've got other guy who I did a recording for on my other book that I'll have to look back through, find him, but he's a guy that's doing a lot of the building up in Costa Rica too, and he's got his eye on Costa Rica. Former colonel as well, but I think Navy 06 or something, if my memory serves. But he did. He made a lot of money in real estate while he was in. He had life licked. He was in the service, active duty, and had properties.
Right.
And he would just grow and grow and grow, and had probably 200 and something properties at his peak, something like that. And now he's got his eye on the prize down there in Costa Rica. He's old enough to where he's probably in his 60s, probably in his 60s or something now. And his parents are still alive and living over on the East Coast. And he said, yeah, I think I'm maybe waiting on mom and dad to go before I go down there and do this real time. But he's like, Albert, I've legit got drawers full of cash. I'm ready to go and take it down there and get this shit going. So Costa, there's something about, I haven't been there, so there's definitely something about it.
It's yeah, Albert, you got to go, man. It's beautiful. That's why we moved down here to Texas, close to Hobby, because you can hop on a flight with Southwest.
Okay.
You know, you can be there. You can be there. They've got a flight going out every day. You know, we're 3 hours away from getting down there. I fly into San Jose. I go to Jumbo car rental. Good friends of mine. I've been using them for the last 3 years. I get me a 4x4. Right now, I've just been renting some big homes down there that are pretty cool. I spend about 9 or 10 days down there, but my partner Steve's down there right now working on this, the new build that we've got going on. And, you know, we call it Operation Costa Rica. And we will get the Life Readiness Center up there, buddy. And I tell you what, it's going to be beautiful, you know.
I'm glad you say life readiness, because I tell my kids, because my son, I just got custody of him after 10 years of all kinds of weird shit going on. A story for another time.
Right.
But he's heading into college. And so he is my son. He looks like me, but he was in essence raised under somebody else's roof and told all kinds of weird shit that isn't true for 10 years. But that's why I like that Liam, my oldest, is going to college, and I call it life camp. That I say, okay, I'm glad you're going to be an hour away from me. You got to go know how to have your own life, have your own friends, have your own opportunities for success and failure. You're going to gain wisdom from that.
Right.
Because life isn't always mom and dad hovering over you. You have to be able to be a man and put your chest out. And so the reason why I'm circling back to you saying camp is because, or like life camp, is because the education system is dog shit. And even higher level stuff is dog shit. And it just, we veterans are the ones who are going to be able to go, you know what, that's dog shit. How about, rather than you working for whatever, Amazon or something that sounds flashy, how about you come work with Colonel and Albert on this big mission that we got going on in Costa Rica? I mean, people like us, we're used to that kind of mission. And that's what I love that when I tell people something, they go, wow, Albert, you got the dream job. And I go, fuck yeah, I do. I work from home in my PJs practically, and I'm doing awesome shit every single day. Right. And I'm fulfilled by it. And if I get paid $1 million today, I'll still show up here tomorrow. So, but if you pay me $1 million at Amazon, I'd fucking quit Amazon, is my point. So, and come and do this.
No, it's nice to be able to come to work in your pajamas, buddy. Let me tell you. I mean, I get up early every morning because I got brainwashed after 37 years, right? So, unfortunately, I cannot sleep past 5 o'clock in the morning. So I'm up, and going around 4:30, getting a shower, But I can leave my jammies on, buddy. Just put on a nice shirt when I'm talking to hospitals, But I've been working out of the house now, ever since I retired, and I love it. but I'm also a full-time caretaker for my 89-year-old mother who survived 3 strokes. So she's still with us. That's the only living family member that both me and my wife have. I told you that my wife's dad, he died from suicide, and my wife's mother in 2006 was killed by an illegal alien. So I don't care what they want us to call him, but that it was an illegal alien.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Who got about 6 months jail time, earned about $19, got kicked back across the border, was married to an American, snuck back across the border, and left my wife with $500,000 worth of doctor bills for her mother that passed away. So please don't talk to me about migrants. They're illegal aliens, right? We've got plenty of friends. I've got plenty of friends, that have come to this country, right? And gone through the proper channels and gotten their citizenship, the right way. Okay. And I served with a lot of people downrange that weren't citizens that served downrange that were able to get their citizenship by serving this country, but they weren't given a free pass. Okay. And then just allowed to cross, and not be a regular citizen. So yeah, that's another story we don't really want to get on, especially with my family.
And I will say this to swing that back to a positive too, and a positive challenge, if I can. That's what I said on a podcast or previous of mine, another podcast that I had last week or week before, where we talked about that if we are, as veterans, if we are the shield and sword in the castle that is the American dream, we're the ones that are on watch and we're on guard. And we know enough. In the military, we talk about be, know, and do. So we know enough. We know better. Are we doing better? So at what point in time are us veterans going to look at each other and go, well, you know what? We fucked up. We fucked up because we didn't say something, because the quote, let me show you this real quick. So there's big God, and then there's little government. Okay. Big God doesn't say anything about government. There's big God, there's man, there's wife and kids and a bunch of other stuff after that. So us guys that know better and that can do better, this is part of the reason why I'm doing this too. Spread that message of, hey, if you know better and do better, or can do better, do better. So run for office or dog walker, like Dan Bongino says. Do something. Don't just sit there sucking your thumb in your own house and going, man, the world is going to shit. Well, it's going to shit because you're sucking your thumb sitting on your fucking ass. Right. So I'm talking to Colonel. Colonel's talking to me. We're doing something about it. Get off your ass and do something about it for yourself and for your family. And because if when the zombie apocalypse happens, we veterans know how to, number one, have water. People don't talk about how important water is. But when the zombie apocalypse happens and everybody's thirsty, there's going to be a lot of people who die pretty fucking fast because they don't have water. And there's all the blue-haired people out there who are like, oh, well, I'm going to lean on Colonel and he's going to take care of me. Unfortunately, probably not, because you're probably not even going to make it to Colonel's house because you're going to need some water and you don't know how to fucking get it or clean it or drink it, or because you know how horrible you feel when you drink bad water. You talk about the worst shits ever, and then you die faster because then you're going to die miserable. So I bring that back to life camp. Those of us who know better of how to have water and food and then armament and stuff like that, we know, and we're not really worried about it. We're like, hey, you know what? We'll stay quiet for a couple of weeks and let all these weirdos die off or whatever, which is not what we want. I don't think any of us want that. No, that's what I'm saying. Zombie apocalypse. Okay. Right. But like, there's stuff that we can control within our country. And I think the border is one of them. And that I'm in Indiana now, I'm not in Texas anymore. Maybe when I start making millions of dollars through Colonel's connections, and maybe I'll change that. But I'll be in Florida next week. But just, we have to be able to do something. And I mean, if you watched any of the political shit yesterday, it's just like State of the Union, my ass. Yeah. Nobody's talking about $85 billion worth of shit that's still left in Afghanistan. Right. Nobody's talking about Pineapple Express. Nobody's talking about what Colonel's talking about with the Costa Rica and stuff. That, I mean, there are good things happening.
Yeah.
They're just not on your TV.
Nope.
And they're not on your couch. You have
No.
to talk to the people who know, because the people who know, they're actually fucking doing. I'm telling you, they're doing.
They're doing every day, my friend. They're doing it every day. And for any of the warriors out there listening to us today, you know what it's about being a warrior. It's about leadership, right? And leadership is not. It comes from the inside out. Okay. So it's a reflection of you. It's a reflection of what you're willing to give to others. That are you authentic, right? What's your character about? What's your integrity about? So leadership comes from the inside out, and you guys got it. It's out there. You just got to pull it out. You got to remember where it's at and pull it out and put it to work. And if you put it to work for the right purposes, and if you put it to work to help other veterans or help other people, whatever that is, right? It could be, you could, look at all the homeless veterans that we've got out there that we could potentially help, right? If you put it to good use, it'll come back to you in tenfold.
Yep, exactly. And we will end with that. Let me turn it over to Colonel here. Feel free to talk about any upcoming events that you got, website stuff. We'll put all your links and stuff in the chat box and stuff like that for people to see.
We just
on my website.
We got a couple things coming up. So on 1 June, we've got the VFE ride coming up here in the Woodlands, Texas. That's going to be about 146 miles. We don't advertise it, but it'll be a dice run, because you know how Texas is about gambling.
Okay.
But they never come and slap your hand, but we'll still have a dice run. That'll be a great event on the 22nd of June. We'll have the VFB ride up in Denver. It'll be the 8th annual ride up there. That's hosted by the American Legion Post 178. Great folks up there. Memorial Day, 27 May, we'll be at 10 different grave locations. We'll be doing a flower on every grave. So if you're interested in becoming a flower captain and you're close to a national grave site, give me a call. Same thing with the VFV ride. We just had our big ribbon cutting ceremony up in Huntsville with the Chamber of Commerce with our Life Readiness Center. The chairman of our board is coming out Monday. He's picking up one of the 2 H-bots. That's getting moved out to Scottsdale, Arizona. We're going to open up a new Life Readiness Center there. I'm headed up north to Dallas to buy a new H-bot. We call it the Mercedes-Benz. It's a 3.0. Brand new. They cost $120,000. I'm getting one for $27,000, and we'll actually be able to provide wound care to participants, to veterans, to people going through diabetes. It's just going to be a great center. And then on the 5th of October, we've got a big concert coming up. We've got Dave Bray, who is a former corpsman in the Navy out of Pennsylvania. He's a great patriotic singer. He'll be hosting that on the 5th, along with the Charlie Bravo Band. That's going to be at Hughes Landing. That'll be a big 4-hour event. We look to raise around $25,000 to $30,000 for that. And then 14 September, we'll have our VFV ride in San Antonio. It'll be the 7th annual ride there, and we raise a lot of money from the riders over there in San Antonio. So that's just a few things on our Glide Scope here at Victory for Veterans. Once the links get posted out there, if you want to become a sponsor, we got 4 levels of sponsorship from $500 up to $2,500, all tax deductible. If you want to sponsor one of our great events, there's a lot of stuff that we do for you. If you want to become a donor, a monthly donor, we're a great nonprofit, and we're doing a lot of great things. And if you want to get on Warriors for Life, all of our warriors are posted out there with their bios, and all you have to do is click, and boom. At the time, you're right in that support meeting peer-to-peer. You're going to meet some great veterans. Friday nights, we have women only that have suffered from MST and sexual assault or sexual abuse. So we've got a lot of things going on. Monday night, Reiki Master, Emotion Code. We've got some cool things going on, Albert. So
That's
I really want to thank you for having me on here. And I look forward to our future as partners as we go down this road. We save some additional lives, and we help veterans get their money. I know I've got a lot. I know I've got a lot that are 100% disabled that have no idea about what you're just talking about, and we can make a huge difference in their life. A huge difference.
And
I've
even
got one.
Yeah.
I got one down in Florida right now. His name's Steve McFarland. He's one of my facilitators, right? He's getting SSI, but he's only getting 5 or 10% disability from the VA. They keep jacking him around.
Yep.
He's living in a trailer that's got holes in it, right? He can only live in about half of that trailer. And Victory for Veterans, we're trying to find him another trailer. We're trying to help him out. I think I'm going to send him to you first to work with Steve McFarland. And he's also a first responder.
Nice.
And his PTSD is due to the fact that his wife died from suicide. So he is a spousal suicide survivor. But I know he could really use your help, and he's a man of faith, and he does our Healing Through Faith sessions on Sunday night. Former preacher and just a great guy, but he could really use your help.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like the story of Joe, man. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, but those are the kind of people that I'm connected with, and I think that this will definitely increase your client base, and you'll be able to help a lot of people that I'm associated with that are doing great things, by the way, and they're working hard.
Definitely. Well, that's good stuff. Well, that's why I want to be their first phone call for all my clients. Anything that changes in their life, good, bad, or indifferent, because we all have stuff. I mean, I've got young kids. There's going to be times they fall down the stairs or something. I got to go take them to the doctor and get a cast on their arm or whatever. Life happens. But yeah, I mean, it's I just want to make sure that my clients or our veterans are squared away as soon as possible with all that life-changing money. And then hopefully, honestly, I get to work you out of business, Colonel. And same thing for me. I get to work myself out of business. But
absolutely,
life does happen, and we do have to bring our circles together and say, hey, Albert gets you here and does some other stuff, and Colonel can take care of you over here and get you some other stuff, and that's what it should be, and that's the way it is. That's the way it is now that we're linking arms that way. So we'll definitely keep it posted on the rides. We'll put you up on our website. We do have a separate section for you guys, and especially the more we do together, the more that partnership is going to be able to grow on my website and on your website, things like that, and be able to get that good news story out there better. Of, like I said, with one nonprofit, we were able to make a $160 million impact on the people that were through their organization. And I mean, what a great news story to be able to tell anybody out there, the board, the community I know there's a lot of good doers out there, but sometimes you gotta follow the money. You gotta track the money and go, okay, how many millions of dollars are going into a program, or how many millions of dollars are going into the pocket of the veteran who earned it in the first fucking place? So that's where I come in.
No, I think that's a great story. And you know what? I hope you're my first call after this podcast. If we pick up a new ride captain, or we pick up a new flower captain for our mission, or we just get connected with some great organizations. You had mentioned Grunt Style. I just got to throw out a nice, thank you to them. They gave us a whole crate of T-shirts to give away at our events, and I'm still giving away T-shirts. I've got like 20 more boxes of Grunt Style T-shirts. They're awesome, and if they hear this, I just want to give a big thank you out to them and all of the other veterans. But Albert, what you're doing is awesome, dude. And just keep it up, man. I look forward to seeing your books too, man.
Yeah, definitely. You'll be the first to know.
All righty.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So we'll bring that to an end, and I'm going to start moving around some stuff over here, go back to my other section here. But yeah, so we'll cut it there. So appreciate you being on here. Let me move some of this around. Now we'll do some backstage talking for a little bit. So let me take just about 5 more minutes of your time as we're still on record, so we can chop this up too. Yeah. Just for some afterthoughts of a bit of a summary, so we can be able to put some of this out front and as a mini commercial to promo of like, hey, come on in here. Holy shit, there's a life-changing stuff we talked about. So what are your thoughts thus far?
I mean, hey, I think it's awesome. I think what you're doing is awesome. I think the Life Readiness Center concept that we came up with, I think it's a super, super duper idea. And the fact that we can treat veterans free of charge These dives normally on the outside run from anywhere from $95 to $110 per dive. We're putting a package of 40 dives together. We're doing an EVOC scan of their brain. We're doing sleep testing. We're doing some other modalities. We've got the red panels so they can get vitamin D that helps them. But these dives are awesome. I've done 3 of the dives myself, man. And I tell you what, you come out of there pink like a brand new baby because all this oxygen's been passing through your body and your brain barrier, right?
Yeah.
And dude, you get the best night's sleep of your life. I mean, I slept better than I've ever slept in 1,000 years. And I haven't been around for 1,000 years, but it's pretty awesome. And then the civilians that we've got going through it, they just love it, because you've got 5.8 million civilians out there that have traumatic brain injury, right? And it's not covered by insurance. And so we're offering a low dive amount of like about $65 per dive for civilians. And again, that's our marketing program. Every 4 civilians that come through our Life Readiness Center, they're saving a veteran's life because we're going to be able to treat them free of charge. That's huge.
Yeah.
That has a huge impact, right? So, yeah.
That's what I say to my clients. I'm like, hey, I charge other clients, so I don't have to charge widows.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. So
yeah, and I've got money. I mean, I've got probably at least 1, 2, 3. I probably got 4 or 5 veterans right off the bat. I can send your way. So once you give me your information, send me a phone number, via email on where I can have them contact you. The first guy I'm going to get is this Steve McFarland. I need to change this guy's life. If we can
have him go to my website, and that's where so no matter what, that's where we send everybody because that keeps
okay.
Brings them in the right funnel, the right place. And
do I have that? Do I have that in your signature block
so
that you sent over to me?
The fulfilledveteranproject.com.
Okay.
That's what that is. So yeah, it is .com, not .org. So send them to thefulfilledveteranproject.com. And I'll ask when he gets on my calendar, it'll say who sent you. Just have him say, hey, make sure that write down that Michael sent you.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Squared away.
No, I appreciate it.
We do have official partnerships too, so we'll make sure that we make this more official so that we're on your website, you're on our website, and we talk about each other's stuff. And
I'm going to introduce you, Albert. I'm going to introduce you to Alex. Alex is in Spain right now. She's the one that works on the Victory for Veterans website. I'm just going to do an introduction, and I'm going to say, hey, let's get on the calendar. Let's the 3 of us talk, and then you can tell her, what type of material that you can provide her, right? And then, like I said, I'll set up a page for the Fulfilled Veteran Coach. And just say, hey, this is one of our partners here. This guy will help you out, with your VA claims. This guy will find money for you. This guy will help you out from an entrepreneur standpoint if you really want to start a veteran-owned business. Those types of things. I'm also going to do an introduction between you and Maurice. Maurice is the executive director for the National Veterans Transition Service, aka Reboot. Jim Wong is the chairman of the board there, and Jim Wong used to be a part of the SBA, the Small Business Association. He is trying to find people. He's trying to connect with organizations that can help family members of these older veterans. So you get these veteran-owned businesses out there right now, and these veterans are turning, 70, 80, 90 years old. They don't have any of these transition programs, right? Who's going to take over the business when they're gone?
Oh man, yep.
So I want to introduce you to Jim Wong and Maurice. I think it'll be a great connection for you. And let me tell you, they're connected with thousands of veterans that have gone through the Reboot program. Just hundreds of thousands of veterans that have gone through this program. They could definitely use your service. Okay, I can fill you up, buddy. So those are two big connections that I want to make. Alex with the website. The National Veterans Transition Service. Okay.
Sounds good. And something else you were mentioning on that too that we didn't talk about, but I'm glad you brought it up because it is such a big deal. So when I help veterans get going, then growing, then prove themselves, then you get to a point where you have money that you can buy into something to help somebody else exit plan.
Right.
So like the easiest way to get to fast money is already buy into something that's already has money. So like, let's say locally there's a dentist office or something, and the guy wants to retire and he may have a $4 million book of business and he wants a golden parachute of $1 million. Okay, fine. Here's $1 million, go away. And he already has a book of business and it's established. And all I have to do is find a dentist to go fill in the the chair and put the name on the desk or the table, the
Yeah.
front door. Like that's it. So that's where we help out with that too. I'm a client of a tax strategist who she's a former IRS agent, and she very similar wants to help small businesses, but she found out by working for the government that the government is not helping small businesses,
Right.
or any business. And so her
Yeah.
first step is to help small business guys like me pay as little taxes as possible, the legal way, of course, compliantly.
Right.
And then you get to, like I say, get to your first million and then go and do other stuff like get into real estate investing. And then that way you're getting money coming in, passive money. And then you can take that money and put that money into helping somebody who's wanting to retire from, like I said, the dentist office, and then just start buying into other businesses that already have
Right.
a cash flow positive, as banks would call it.
Yeah.
And it's insane. I've been talking to bankers here recently because I'm moving stuff around and everybody's trying to sell me their shit. And that's what the banks talk about is cash flow, cash flow, cash flow. It's not about what you did a year ago or 10 years ago, what your chest candy says, or what you think you can do. They say, all right, let me see the fucking numbers. And numbers don't lie, and numbers don't have emotion, but numbers do drive emotion, and they drive opportunity.
Yep.
So when I show a bank that, hey, here's what I did in the past, 6 months of doing something, they go, oh shit. Or here's what people have committed to on their payment process of, well, let's break down $10,000 over the next year. Okay, well, they can look at that too. So it's crazy. It's all about being smart with your money.
Yep.
And I didn't know a whole lot of money growing up. I didn't know a lot of money even getting to where I am right now. So I'm not the money expert as far as that's concerned. But I do know that when you get your money, make choices from abundance rather than desperation. And it feels a hell of a lot better.
Yeah.
It feels a lot better when you've got more money and you can put more money into other things like supporting nonprofits and supporting growth of other people, because it does work out a hell of a lot better that way. So, but yeah, I just wanted to mention that's part of the things that we help is get to a point of buying out somebody else's business, so it allows them to retire.
Well, and especially well-established veteran-owned businesses, and that's, there's just no succession planning, in that area. And so that's why I want to connect them with you. Okay. But again, they're connected with a lot of veterans that could use your help, on the disability side of the house. So, hey, bud, I really appreciate it. Watch for my emails, and I know you're a really busy guy, but we'll just kind of go back and forth, and we'll get some stuff lined up here.
I'm only busy helping you guys, so appreciate it. If I can have, like we would say, right, the battlefield multipliers there.
Yeah, yeah.
So I love that line.
Well, great meeting you there, Captain, and you take care of yourself, man.
All right,
be good.
Sounds good.
All right,
we'll talk soon. Thanks, Michael.